Hello and welcome to the week 10 day 2 video lecture. We're going to talk about project 4, but before that I want to show you a few student examples so we can work backwards and you can access any of these student examples in the modules. But first off, project 4 is it can be several things. It can take the form of several things. And that's up to you and your group. For instance, the end product of P4 can be a multi-page report to include a cover page, table of contents. You'll see several of the pages have data visualizations, other kinds of images. It's a formal report that can easily go to 10 or 15 pages. Or you can choose to create a visual style report, which would still have the same properties such as a formal introduction with a letter, table of contents, other text-based parts, and other data visuals or dynamic visuals. I'll show you two more that also chose the path of not a multi-page report, but rather a scrolling presentation style that still incorporates everything that's needed, but in a different way. With your ultimate goal being to work together with your group of 4, sometimes 5 people, to collaboratively sew together all of these parts, all of these cumulative things from past projects, and adding new research, adding new content together to solve a P3 professional problem. So let's start. Now that you've seen the different approaches to P4 and maybe you're like a little scared. I get it. Let's talk about the intricacies of P4 if my PowerPoint will work here. Hang on 1 second. Okay, now I think we're cooking with gas here. So let's move on to the complexities of P4, of which there are a lot, but you have several weeks to get this done. I know some of you in the midterm survey indicated that you felt like you were moving from one project to another and it was so quick. That's because the English department has staggered this in such a way to give you the most amount of time devoted to this very large project that is the biggest chunk of your grade. For my face-to-face classes, if we've discussed some of this content already, if you feel anything's repeated during this lecture, as always, feel free to fast forward while we talk about P4. What you see on the screen, we're going to review during this lecture to include a lot about what is that task list and about online collaboration. The scenario for P4 is as follows. Your boss has learned so much from your P3 research summary memo. Now that you've overviewed the professional problem for them, they wish for you to offer a multi-tiered solution via a formal recommendation report. Your boss informs you that since you're so good at making impactful documents, include at least 5 static visuals and 1 dynamic visual on this new document. The report will span several pages, can be 10 or 15 like I mentioned, or you can present this as a scrolling presentation using Sway, Prezi, or Adobe Spark. And we looked at some of the different approaches to this report. Additionally, the report will can feature past research and figures as long as they're related to your recommendation topic. Your boss wants to show off your document, so that means it should be ready to be sent off to the rest of the company in the form of a multi-page PDF or a presentation link. Lastly, your boss wants to make sure that your group is staying on track with this complex collaborative endeavor. This means later your boss is going to require that three different colleagues within your group draft a one-page progress report concerning the status of the project. Other supplementary documents will be required along the way, such as a one-page social justice component report and revision planning slides. These supplementary documents should be delegated fairly among all group members, along with drafting the rough and final version of the recommendation report. Whew, that was a lot. I'm nervous for y'all, but I know you can do it because I've seen it done so many years before. Consider what has happened with collaborative assignments in the past in this class. Ask yourself what these experiences have taught you about working with others and working on your own to contribute to a larger task. As I mentioned, I placed you in groups early on in the semester. It was a practice run for this major collaborative project. What did you learn worked best? What did you learn what to avoid? Most likely you learn that reaching out early, constant and non-aggressive communication, delegating tasks, even if people are unresponsive at first, these sorts of things are key strategies for working with groups. P4 is all about being a good team member. Group projects often result in two polar opposite types of team members. There's the lackadaisical who believes they turn in assignments at clutch time and it's last minute for the win. There's the overachiever who believes in turning in assignments a week ahead of time. You can call them a control baron if you want. These types of people can be the most toxic to a group project. For that reason, you should all within the group decide to relent and compromise with each other, particularly if you can recognize that you're a lackadaisical type. Instead of waiting for last minute, how about compromising and submitting assignments a day or two in advance? If you recognize you're the overachiever in the group, step back and recognize when your need for control may be stifling the group. Maybe stop talking during meetings, solicit ideas from the group. Overall, know that no one can be forced to do anything. Consider how to motivate and lift one another so that the project is bearable. It might even be fun. And most important of all, it needs to get completed. Part of staying calm and in control of a group project is being prepared. This is where the P4 task list becomes your best mother flippin' friend. There are, I know on the list or on the screen it says 9, but there are 8 items on the list. Each task should be assigned to particular members of your group. Of the 8 assignments, 3 are collaborative and will be completed together by the group. And those are the 3 assignments that you see on the screen that will be graded. You'll get a group grade for these items as long as you participated. Let's go back, actually. Only one person will be responsible for uploading the assignments that you see on the screen. And that person's also responsible for making sure all parts of the assignment are completed by all teammates. And that's using that checklist that you've already used early on in the semester when you had to collaborate with team members. And that's why I also introduced that sort of a project so you would understand the purpose of a checklist and how it holds team members accountable and how it relays to your boss, or in this case to me, who completed something of the project and who did not. During the first group meeting that you host with your team, review the P4 task list and assign each group member one major and one minor task to be responsible for. A few standouts to note about the task list. Major assignments will be turned in on Canvas or sometimes USF writes. Minor assignments will be submitted to Canvas and are assigned individually based on group consensus. If blue assignments are not submitted, group grades are not impacted. Items that are in blue, only one person submits, and they're the only one to receive a grade for this item. Assign one blue item per person. Black items on the list are group assignments, but one person should be responsible for making sure these are completed. Do not assign more than one person per item. All of these notes I just went over are on the task list sheet, and you can access it via understanding concepts. You can also find it under files on Canvas. The task list is in place to ensure equity of task distribution for P4, both for accountability and for practicality's sake. The task list ensures that everyone is graded for individual assignments related to P4. During your first group meeting, just like what you see on the screen, place a, oh, I didn't. Well, so during your first group meeting, place a teammate's name next to each task. Note that certain tasks, such as progress reports, the social justice component, the revision slideshow, these are individual assignments. If a teammate does not submit them, only their grade is impacted and you don't need to bother them about it. Let them get their own bad grade. If you're still confused about the task list and what some of the assignments are for, review the P4 assignment slideshow in the understanding concept section for more clarification regarding these assignments. And as each week comes up, we will discuss them. Additionally, the task list is for group meetings and should be referred to with your group. As an individual, if you'd like to know all the minor and major aspects of P4, access the P4 checklist in the module. Use it to guide yourself through the project. Check off each milestone and eventually you'll complete the list. This week, you'll be checking 2 items off this 17-item list. You're going to meet with your group to delegate tasks, and together you'll create the team charter. So boom, boom, 2 things already will get done this week. Moving on, let's talk about one other document type your boss is going to require as part of P4, and that's a group progress report. In order to complete the 3 times this assignment is going to be due, you and your team have to meet first. After meeting, someone in the group will draft a progress report updating your boss on what the meeting entailed and anything else you deem relevant about the project. The password for the assignment that requires it is what you see on the screen, Werewolf by Night. Awesome, awesome. You should watch it on Disney+. When looking at the task list, you'll notice there are 3 progress reports to submit. Different people should be completing this assignment every time. An initial progress report is more detailed than subsequent reports. You've completed a progress report before, and you should remember that design is just as relevant as the text. Meaning, please don't just submit a Word document of what happened during the meeting. Consider how design, proofreading, and brevity work together before you hit submit. Based on the task list, your group will submit 3 progress reports total. The format and the look of these progress reports should remain consistent for all 3. That means if Valeria submits the first progress report for the group, then Liz should use the same template for her progress report. Unless initially the design elements were lacking and you guys want to update it, that's fine too. The team charter, the thing that you have to turn in at the end of this week. It's the first instance of collaborative writing for your group, and it's due on Sunday. This is a collaborative memo that establishes the rules for your group project. It's also where you document who is going to be the project manager, and this is required. During the first team meeting, decide who you want to lead your project. It might be the person with the winning research summary, but if they bow out of being the leader, it's fine to elect someone else as your project manager. However, y'all are stuck with the topic that your group was assigned. More details about the team charter. Think of it like a syllabus. A team charter establishes rules and expectations for group conduct. You can use wording from the research summary or other class assignments from 3250 to complete it, as long as it gets completed and includes a checklist and all that jazz. Everyone in the group should contribute 2 to 3 parts of the team charter. I suggest working from a Google Doc or something similar. Like you've done with past group assignments, include a checklist of who contributed at the top. On the screen, you'll notice one name does not have a check mark. This means this teammate did not contribute to any part of drafting the team charter. And so this teammate's name, where they should have gotten a check mark, that's left blank. If you don't contribute to a group assignment, you will not receive a grade for it. And the checklist helps me keep track. Because this is a group assignment, make sure that everyone has access to the workspace like your Google Doc and set an expected date on this accessible workspace so that everyone in the group is aware when the document is being submitted. For example, and we've talked about this, but I'm going to repeat it. Even though the assignment is due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, all the parts should be completed before then, right? So the team, maybe you decide on a collaborative group due date on the time of Saturday at 10 p.m. for all finished parts to be typed onto the Google Doc. This date and time should be at the top of the workspace for everybody to see. After this group approved day and time, the document should be proofread, formatted, submitted. This provides all team members a chance to submit the work, but it still provides accountability and expectations in the event that one or more teammates does not submit their parts. You should have a backup plan in case this happens, because you already know it might happen. For any document type moving forward, look up design templates on Word, Canva, or other apps. However, using a student sample is acceptable as long as you change the wording to your own, and as long as a memo looks like a memo and a letter looks like a memo and so forth. Take note that missing out on P4 means compromising 35% of your total grade for 3250. Even as scary as that is, I've built in some safety nets as I know group projects can go sideways. For instance, that's why the task list exists, to have some group assignments, but mostly they're individually graded tasks. Likewise, if you have a teammate that drops off the face of the earth, you're still expected to carry on with your recommendation report. But know that based on what I observe and I hear from your other teammates in the team evaluations at the end of the semester, I will grade your overall team participation in a separate assignment that's worth 100 points. You don't have to submit anything to receive these these extra 100 points. Just participate with your group by showing up to meetings, contribute to the group assignments substantively, and these 100 points will be easy to obtain. Now that you've learned all of this shit, relax a little bit, because for this week, meeting with your team and completing a team charter, those are the only major things you have to do right now. P4 will get completed. I promise it's going to happen 1 week at a time. Don't worry about creating like anything crazy, like creating a template for the presentation, solving the problem already. All these little assignments that we're going to complete over the next few weeks scaffold into drafting this larger recommendation report. Let's look at the assignments that you have for day 2. So if we go to the modules and we go to week 10, you can see that you actually have 2 assignments, but 1 major assignment. The minor, for day 2 anyway, the minor assignment is about strengthening your understanding of professional citation methods and why they're important, and to help you remember that as a group, you need to choose one of these citation methods that you think will work best for all of your P4 assignments and especially for your recommendation report. But this is an individual assignment that everyone does on their own after you download this worksheet, fill it out, and upload it here. After that, let's go back to the major group assignment, and that is creating a team charter memo. And this should be done after you meet with your group. There's a lot of parts, and the first part is reviewing some of the stuff we just talked about, like setting a group due date so that you get this multi-stage memo finished with your group and upload it on time. There's a sample team charter, remembering that you should never copy a student sample word for word, but if you wanted to download this and start inputting your own information, great. But know that some of the headers are not correct because it's from a different semester. Some of the headers and how the order in which they appear need to change to follow the flow of this. So what you could do is have this open and then have the assignment details open. Nope, wrong thingy. And then you could see what you needed to shift around, what you could keep here, and start building your own on, not on Microsoft Word. What am I doing? You need to do it on a Google Doc. So you should create your Google Doc or whatever collaborative space that you want. And then you go to the sharing permissions, and that should be the next thing that you do to make sure that when you send this link to your group, that everybody can edit it. That it's not restricted, that anybody with the link can edit it. And then you copy the link and you send it to all your teammates so y'all can start working on it together. And maybe you highlight it, you highlight certain portions and you say, okay, Jose is going to do the green parts, and then Neil is going to do the blue part. That was a terrible color, but you get the idea. Everyone should be assigned 2 to 3 parts of it, and then it will get done on whatever due date that you and your group, Saturday at 5 p.m., whatever due date you put up here and that you and your group agree on. And then once everyone's filled in their part by that time, or even if they haven't, you have that that due date in mind and you need to get it done. You open this up, you open a memo template, and you transfer all your crap over here and you upload it to USF Rights. Along with creating the memo, you need, part of that is section 8, which is asking you to review the task list, which is here, and to take the task list and put your teammates' names next to certain things so that everyone is responsible for something. Let's see if this sample did it. I don't know if they did. Yeah, they did. So let's make that bigger. So like this sample, you and your team need to agree on who is doing what. even if a team member doesn't show up for your group meeting, and this task list is going to be different because it's from a different semester. So you need to look at the task list that's attached here. But the idea is the same. You're assigning different people to complete different tasks. Even if they didn't show up for the meeting, everyone on your group list needs to be assigned at least 2 items, right? And to find your group, you go to people, you go to project groups, and you would uncollapse all the names. Right now, I haven't created groups because we haven't gotten that far yet, but it's similar to when you've clicked on other things and you just uncollapse them and you find your name. So that's the basics of week 10, day 2. If you have questions about anything else, try not to get ahead of yourself and thinking, I have to complete everything about project 4. I have to do everything on my own. You don't, and we're going to take project 4 one step at a time. Review your P4 checklist, take a breather. We will finish all of this in stages and we'll get down to the end sooner than you know it. Reach out with questions and have a great rest of your day.